So I was super skeptical about going to Houston, not gonna lie. I remember being really excited for it last summer, when I thought, you know, my friend was gonna go. It turns out she couldn't go, and from there I was just like, well then, what is the point? Like I'm gonna have nobody, you know? Like I don't think any of these people really share my interests. I'm like, you know, of course, like I love the youth group. It's just I didn't know them as well as I knew this other person. And it was like, it's hot. I hate heat. Like, it's just, I just can't do it. And like, it's Houston. I'm a vegetarian. They eat vegetarians. Thankfully, none of that ended up being true. But I actually, about 3 months before we went, I had a mental breakdown on a couch similar to the one I'm sitting on now. While I was sitting there, sobbing and fretting about dying in Houston, my friend told me, he turned to me and he goes, but it's something new. It's an adventure. You can't be afraid of an adventure. And you know, I did. And that worked out really well because every time, like when we got on the plane and I was like, oh God, I'm making a really big mistake. It's like, no, this is an adventure. I am Indiana Jones, Ellie Sattler, Ross Geller, you know, I can do anything, and it ended up being incredible. I loved Houston. In fact, I might even go to school there. I mean, like, and how do you spend the entire afternoon with dinosaurs or children who look at you like you're the greatest thing since like sliced bread because you gave them a few books, like, and like not feel like, you know, you did the right thing. And I got really close to all the people who came with. You know, Ava was my roommate, and she witnessed a lot of nincompoopery. It was. And you know, even though I was skeptical of Houston, maybe my friend was put right there as I was, you know, bawling my eyes out and like wishing I didn't have to make this choice between going or not, to tell me it's like, you're not going to regret this. This is going to be like probably one of the most incredible things to do in high school. I'm really glad he said that, because I feel like without it, I might have backed out.
In Houston, that was the very first time that I decided that I was going to donate some blood. And it had always been on my bucket list. So Pastor Leah decided to donate with me, so when we got to the arena, that's where we first went. And we got all signed in, and that's when the nerves hit. And you had to sit, and you had to wait, and all the chairs were basically full. We got the last two, and we snaked to the front of about 30 chairs, and then I got called back so they could test everything to make sure that I was eligible to give blood. So they were going through all the things, taking my blood pressure, temperature, and the people volunteering at our church walked by and scared me by poking their eyes through the little fence and telling me good job, and they're proud of me for doing this. And that helped a little bit. So I got called right back to a chair, and I had the first one so I could see out into the arena and I could see everybody doing stuff. So I'm sitting there, and the lady tries one of my arms. She can't find my vein. And that was nerve-wracking. So I was like, oh no, this is gonna be awful. They're gonna poke me a million times. And then she found one on my other arm. Well, then a nurse came running over to her saying, a girl's having a reaction and we need your help, because she was the supervisor of the whole thing. So she runs over, and this girl is about 20 feet away from me. So I could see her being held by everybody, being helped into a chair with ice packs all around her, people giving her juice and crackers to eat. And she was there the whole time I was giving blood. So about 15 minutes goes by, the lady finally comes back. And I was like, okay, sweet, I can get this over with. Well, then I see she's carrying her lunchbox. She decided that that was a great time to have her lunch break. So she tells me someone else is going to help me. Another like 5 minutes goes by. A lady finally comes to help. And she finds my vein on my arm again. And then the nurse helping the girl that was having a reaction ran over and said, somebody fainted. I need to go help them. Can you watch this other girl? So by now I'm freaking out, thinking that I'm gonna die or pass out, and thankfully that didn't take too long and she finally got back. And they poked me and it surprisingly didn't hurt. And so I was sitting there very relaxed, and Pastor Leah was done by this point. And it took about 3 minutes and they had gotten their pint of blood. And I just got to sit there and relax and drink juice for a couple minutes until my blood sugar went to normal. And I would definitely do it again. It's a great experience. I felt like I had done something to help someone, which is what I love to do, is to help people.
My story is about when Bishop Dave, our bishop for Synod Day, told a story about his stole, wrapping it around his neck and using it as a yoke. God is pulling on it to have us go into God's direction.
So before, in 2015, in the last big mission trip, for the service day, our youth group had done some sort of a construction project. They helped build a house, and this year we expected to do a very similar thing since we had multiple construction workers in our group. But we found out something that was very different than we thought it would be.
So the service leader person who was leading us, she told us the day before the other service groups, they were sorting books for, it was like the Houston Blast Off for Books things where everyone brought in a certain type of books and a certain selection, yeah. And they organized them. I thought that was going to be fine, like organizing books, that's not terrible. So, and then she kept going on about how we are going to Hawaii for a book fair to hand out books to the children.
As we all know, our good friend Anna loves working with kids.
Oh yes.
So we started teasing her about that, and that was fun.
But when we actually got there, we found out we were kind of leading a class of children.
And the 8 and 9-year-olds were outside, and for them, they wanted 16 people to work with 8 and 9-year-olds. When they asked for volunteers for it, nobody raised our hands except us. Plus, we had exactly 16 people, which was kind of an interesting thing. It worked out perfectly. So we went off to our group, but when people were asked to volunteer for like the preschoolers who were inside, everybody raised their hands because of the nice air conditioning and it's not sweltering hot, but we actually stepped up to work outside. And that was fun.